each team's pass rush in the top 10 for the 2020 season. And as we know, Bree's Saints took both regular season meetings. Former Cowboys cornerback Orlando Scandrick is joining us on a Friday. So, Orlando, in your opinion, I know what Skip and Shannon think. What do you think? Who wins? What's the score?
First, I'm going to tell you who wins. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. I just think that it's really hard to beat anyone 3 times in the National Football League. And the experience, the Saints always find a way to mess it up. It doesn't matter how good their team is. And Tom Brady, I played against Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game in 2018 when I was with the Kansas City Chiefs. And, we were down 14-0 at halftime, I believe, and Tom made a bunch of mistakes and they were still winning. And then the second half came and it was just like when it became crunch time and, nut cutting time. Tom was terrific. And, his experience, I think, is just going to take over. And that's what they brought him there for Tampa. And I think Tom lives for these moments. I look for Tampa to win a close one, 28-24.
The difference is when you look back at it, what couldn't you do to Tampa what couldn't you do to Tom in New England that the Saints can do while he's in Tampa?
They can rush the passer. But I think at some point, and I think that we talked about this on the show all season, if you look at the Bucs offense, it has become catered to what Tom does well. And Antonio Brown is in, postseason form. He has picked it up over these last few weeks. So we've seen less Scotty Miller, more Antonio Brown. And I just think the Saints have a liability on their coverage, in their secondary and the agitator, number 22. And I don't think that that's going to get in Antonio Brown's head, nor is it going to get in Mike Evans' head, nor is it going to get in Chris Godwin's head. And I think they're going to be in for a long day.
When I went the opposite way. I took the Saints, but I think you're giving the Bucs secondary too much credit because I think they're a weak link. And even when they were rolling, I see vulnerabilities in that secondary. Their secondary is not good, and I'm being nice with that.
No. They're hot garbage.
But Skip loved the Bible, the Pro Football Focus. That's Skip's Bible. They have them ranked ahead of the Saints secondary. I don't know how that happened.
Like by far.
Yeah, I know.
Like 6th to 21st.
Yeah, I don't know how they got that. But when I look at it, I just think the thing is Hendrickson is going to be the key. If he can come back and he can be what he's been the entire season, 12.5 sacks, and he's been out of in and out of the lineup the last 4 or 5 games. But if he can come back, because what they can do with their front four is that get pressure without having to sacrifice the back end. Now, I don't know what it is, but I think because he's a big target and Marshawn Lattimore is on the smaller side, but he gives Mike Evans fits because he is a big target. And it's not like, go ahead.
He does. But you were a pass-catching tight end. Your brother was a pass-catching receiver. It's a lot of hitting yards when it comes in between Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans. His stat sheet might not look well, but Marshawn Lattimore is going to have a 40-plus yard pass interference. It happens every time they play. You look at the first game, a 40-plus yard pass interference, and I look at those as the hitting yards. That's just as good as a 40-yard catch to me.
I look at any good defenses I've been around, make them call it. They're not going to call it every play. They might call it, and I get it sometimes, it's the most inopportune time that they choose to throw the flag. But I'm going to make you call it. I'm going to be my normal self. And what we've seen in the playoffs, is that they normally will let stuff go. They don't call it as ticky-tack as they once did in the regular season. So they're going to let you play.
To the Saints.
Yeah, you're going to have to play through. Ask the Saints about that when Roby Coleman Skip hit the guy in the third quarter, and it was the fourth quarter, and they didn't throw the flag.
Especially at New Orleans.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Orlando Scandrick, my man, I love what you just said. It makes me feel a little better about a pick I don't love, because I did pick Tom Brady, but I just picked him because he's Tom Brady.
Exactly.
But it's because of what he's done. It's because of what he did to Orlando's Chiefs in 2018 in the AFC Championship game. He converted 3 straight 3rd and 10s in overtime. It's impossible. You just can't. Were you on the field for any of those? Orlando?
Yeah, he gave a touchdown.
See, here you go. See, there's you back doing it again. You're doing it again.
I know, but he has
my bad.
But he has firsthand knowledge. He has literally he has seen it before his very eyes.
I watched the game.
He did it to me in Dallas too. When they had Aaron Hernandez, Gronkowski, Wes Welker, he's just resilient, man. You can say whatever you want about the man. The man is resilient. And I'm not right about all my picks, but I'm going with just my football knowledge. And I just think when it comes down to it, Sharp, I mean, he wants it. No one wants it more than Tom Brady. Yeah. He clearly showed that he wanted. He took a chance. He went to Tampa. He picked the best situation for himself. Probably not the most money for himself, but he wants it. And another thing that I kind of missed out on, their running game is at a different level than it was earlier in the season. And I went back and I studied both games. They didn't run the ball well in the first game. It was the first game of the season. And in the second game, even though they got blown out, Tom missed a bunch of throws. I'm not going to say that he's going to miss a bunch of throws again. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a hell of a game, but I just see Tampa Bay pulling it out close. I love Tampa Bay's rushers. I love Ndamukong Suh, even though he's older. I love, just the way he can have an impact on the game. I love Jason Pierre. I've loved him since I played against him in the Giants. And Shaq Barrett is kind of the X factor. I mean, he hasn't been the Shaq Barrett that he was in 2019, but he's still a guy that is dominant and can get to the passer.
And by the way, I love the most Devin Bush, who was not able to play because of COVID against Washington. So he's back.
What they got their hands full with Alvin Kamara. Alvin!
So you're going 1960s Chipmunks reference?
Yeah.
How old are you? I don't know.
Fantasy over. He don't want a lot of people fantasy, so I'm thinking Alvin have about 2 touchdowns.
So, Orlando, back to your point, would you believe that the Saints secondary, the reason they're ranked only 21st as a secondary by Pro Football Focus is that as a group, they committed 45 penalties, which is 6 more than any other secondary in the league. To your point about pass interference, and I told Shannon to start the show, Brady will try 4 or 5 deep throws to Mike Evans, just hoping they can get one 40-yard PI penalty, okay? And speaking of Marshawn Lattimore, I have nothing but respect for him, but he gave up the most touchdown passes of any corner in pro football this year. He gave up 6. So there's some feast and famine. You made the point, maybe he loses focus against inferior competition. And he loves to play against Mike Evans. But Mike Evans also loves to play against him. And trust me, they are scheming up some routes where they think Tom will get the ball to Mike Evans some. But he will mostly get the ball in the crucial situations to an Antonio Brown who, during that beatdown back on November the 8th, that Sunday night at Tampa, Antonio had practiced twice with the team and was forced into the rotation for that game. Well, obviously, as Arian said the other day, he's finally in game shape, and he's obviously in Brady shape because they are starting to click at the highest level. So, to me, their bye week came late in the year, and what did they do in the bye week? They finally revamped the offense from Bruce Arians' offense 100% to a little bit of Tom's offense because they added motion and they added play action. He didn't have any of that in that New Orleans game. And now they're doing a lot of that because they are starting to run the ball, not only with Rojo, but Fournette ran the ball with electricity I hadn't seen from him all year at Washington.
The egos are out the window. You 2 games away from the Super Bowl. The egos are out the window. Sean Payton is a hell of a coach. He is a hell of a coach. He's one of the best coaches in football. But Tom Brady is the best player that I've ever seen play in the National Football League, not because of his physical stature, not because of his talent, just because of his brain and his just resilience and how much he wants it. He wants it. I've never seen a quarterback celebrate like that. If you know anything about Tom, you watch him come out the locker room and you watch him come out the tunnel for the last time, he's sprinting full speed, even though he's slow as hell. He's sprinting full speed. You can just see it in his eye. You can see it. You can see how much he wants it in his eye.
Yep. I agree.
This is on the Saints front 4. Jordan and Rankins and those guys. Because Tom, if he holds the ball, he's going to get hit. And you're right. What they did is revamp the offense. They run a lot of shallow crosses, a lot of basic crosses. They're getting the ball out of his hands. And then they play action you and hit you over the top.
Shannon, you want to change your pick?
No, I do not.
Why not?
I do not.
You just heard it from wisdom.
Skip, Shannon, he is going to go with it. And it's not about what he says. It's about what he can make the people believe.
I got Drew Breesy. Drew Breesy won this thing. Drew Breesy, this is my last go-round.
Shannon, I'm so sorry about this, but I also agree Tom Brady's going to get it done. So now, I'm looking forward to how you handle this on Monday, really. I'm looking forward to it already. Orlando, we appreciate your time. Enjoy all the games this weekend. We'll check in with you next week. But, guys, Terry Bradshaw is raising the Super 6 stakes again for divisional weekend. First, he's putting $250,000 up for grabs on Saturday for Rams-Packers, and then on Sunday for Bucs Saints, what we were just talking about. He's sweetening the deal even more by giving away another $250,000 plus his all-new 2021 Ford F-150. Download the free